today's budget announcements. Before I come to the specifically to the manufacturing sector, I would like to add some comments on the budget. One thing that I would like to specifically recommend is the very, very strong emphasis on Gati Shakti. The sort of importance being that has been given to Gati Shakti and the stress that has been laid on this Prime Minister's own scheme is a very, very positive step, because first the intention has to be strongly addressed, and once the intention is addressed, then the action follows. What we are looking at, of course, is an action that could still do with more improvement. We are looking at 7.5 lakh crores of capex during the year, which is roughly 30% higher than the previous year, but still there is a lot more that could have been done, in the sense that we already have a 7 lakh crore going on the last year's budget estimates of the deficit. Now, if our revenues are so strong, what we have to understand is that we have practically a K-shaped economy, and manufacturing is again a part of that. Manufacturing again has two parts. One is the large primary producers in the organized sector, who are of course doing pretty well. But this MSMEs, they are into a problem, and for them, what is really important is the revival of the demand. The supply side in the sector, in the economy is needed. And for that, we need a much stronger push into the capex, because capex gives you a 2.5 times multiplier effect of whatever money is spent by the government. That is one. The other is on MSMEs. It's very welcome that the ECLGS scheme has been extended by 1 year, and the government has announced another 50,000 crore rupees to the existing amount, which I believe has not still been fully utilized, but still I think it's a very good step, and as need be, and if the amount gets exhausted, the government should be considering extending the guarantee. It's not a budget expenditure at all, it's only a guarantee. In addition to that, what is really going to be helpful, hopefully, is the 2 lakh crore support to MSME that we hear that has been announced in this budget on the CGM-THE scheme. The CGM-THE scheme had not taken off properly because of the various riders that were there. Now, hopefully, that this reform scheme, if the government is seriously aiming to release this 2 lakh crores into the sector, I think that should be a huge, huge help. One thing that could have been done for the manufacturing MSME sector is the relief that the MSME sector needs on the high commodity prices. I think some of the steel items, there has been a reduction in customs duties, which is welcome. But there is a large number of commodities which have gone through the roof, from 50 to 150% increase, whether it be steel or plastics or non-ferrous metals or so many other things. The downstream industry, the downstream sector, which is mainly MSME, should not be suffering from this high cost of materials, being compounded by the high customs duties on top of these. So this is one recommendation that the chamber has been giving for a long time, and we would still again stress to the government that this needs to be looked into. The announcement for 80 lakh poor housing is going to be a huge multiplier effect again, in terms of the employment it will generate, in terms of the housing need of the population that is going to be fulfilled, in terms of the expenditure into the infrastructure, which also means a huge benefit, a huge fillip to the associated industries. So all that in a way, in general, in an overall sense, we totally applaud the direction of this budget. One thing, yes, that I would like to also mention is the announcement that the MSMEs will be paid within 10 days by the CPSEs for 75% of their bills is definitely a very, very welcome step. And the other step of L1 not being the sole criteria for ordering in the government, which has been a major bugbear for industry and for MSMEs, is now being addressed. So there will be a consideration of the quality aspects also. That is something which, as it is hopefully now going to be notified in the GFR rules for the procurement by government, I think that should be a great help. Overall, I think lots of positive steps, lots of support for the industry, 65%, 68% of defense procurement being done domestically is again a huge boost for the domestic industry. So lots of things. I think no single budget can satisfy everybody, but lots of great things, the very positive direction, and lots to feel very optimistic about. And the most optimistic thing is the way we have exceeded our budget estimates for our budget deficit. That having been such a strong step, I think let this trend continue and let this country to continue to look at 8 to 9% of continued growth over the next year. That's what will take us to the $5 trillion economy that we are talking about.
Right. I believe that was very rightly mentioned that no single budget can satisfy every sector, but I believe that the recommendations mentioned by the chamber, I think, as far as the MSME sector is concerned, that is something.
Quite a few of them have been addressed, and I'm very happy, especially on the ECLGS. We had asked for 2 lakh crores. Okay, 50,000 crores at least has been given. So,
right.
So I think that's a
I
big.
believe that is a slow process, step by step. I think that every institution, but
And
as far as the budget,
CPMPSC, again, the chamber had been talking about that this is not really working. So now if they decided to make some substantial changes in it, I think very welcome. The chamber has been talking so long now about expenditure into the infrastructure, the sort of importance we have got on the infra spend. Again, very welcome, because what we are looking at is something like 10.6 lakh, 5.9 lakh crores overall into the infra. I think these are the things for which we feel quite happy about.
That is a very optimistic and a positive budget. Thank you so much, Mr. Agrawal. And of course, one important thing there to mention that PhD Chamber appreciates the green bonds, which were very much represented to the government by the PhD Chamber. So that was a very important point there, and something which the PhD Chamber is very happy about, and it really appreciates also. With that, I would request Mr. Vipin Bora, Chair of Civil Aviation Committee, to kindly join us, and I would request someone to kindly help with the mic.